There are actually better things to talk about.
Yep, such as... Sorry. Just saw us laugh again. We talk about content.
Yes,
Because
content.
There's content out this week, unlike last week. There's content this week.
Yeah, certainly more this week because, you know what? Sanctum of Domination. Great. Man, I'm having fun. That was, other than, it's just like, right, Pain Bringer,
Painsmith,
Smith. Yeah, he has been smithing a lot of pain in the Warcraft community. I love that boss. I think it is so fun. I love it.
It's certainly more fun than a lot of bosses in terms of how movement mechanics are designed. I think that like the how simple it is to just go, oh, this pattern is moving towards me, plan where to stand, when to move, where to move, while also doing everything else, just feels great.
Yeah.
It's literally the core building blocks of fun gameplay, and they've managed to succeed in a super, super satisfying way that requires, it's the pattern recognition stuff of how the different like weapons come through across the place. It's great. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's such a marvelous fight. And those bits where the stuff's happening and then the balls come in, they're going down and like, you know, getting the middle ball, everyone running through, but then them doing the chains mechanic that interacts so good with the gap in the balls.
Yeah.
It's such a well-designed fight. My God, I love it. It's great. Yeah, so okay, Painsmith, awesome. It's a little bit more punishing. We've worked out on smaller raid sizes like 10, which is us.
Also, there's a massive step up just in terms of complexity for individual players, even on heroic. Because Dakar was telling me like the jump from Ner'zhul or Soulrender up to Painsmith is insane, even on heroic.
Wow. Okay.
And that's with I believe it's a group of 20. So it is. It does particularly punish smaller raid sizes.
And for Dakar, 20 mythic raiders.
Yeah, but it is also just brutal. Like,
yeah. So wow. Okay, Painsmith, brutal. Really, I love the fight. I do have to wonder if it will see some tuning.
Maybe after Mythic Week, maybe after Mythic clears.
I wouldn't be surprised if it gets normal, even just normal tuning. I wouldn't be surprised.
I suppose they could tune it on normal, but I imagine they'd want to do heroic and normal at the same time.
Yeah, it was really weird because it was one of those fights where like. It kind of clicked, and I feel like what to do in that fight clicked with everyone in our group. We just kept on fucking it up.
Well, that's what I think is probably some of the pinnacle of video game design in general, where that's the feeling you should always be aiming for. I don't mean that to say as in WoW's like the best design. I mean like the North Star of how players should feel is, I understand that's simple, but I cannot actually execute it yet, because my execution isn't up to par. Yeah. And there's ways that can go wrong, like I'm so confused by 500 bits of noise in my face and in my ears that I can't focus. But in World of Warcraft, it is, you're trying to do a couple of things at once. Like in isolation, like if you plot out, how would I do this? Actually, the Sanctum of Pineapples is a very good example for this. Because Sanctum of Pineapples is absurdly easy, because all you're doing is holding a button to shoot, because you're not doing everything else that the game requires you to do. Like on paper, Painsmith is piss easy, like really is. Like organizationally, it's extremely easy, but the execution is difficult because everyone's trying to DPS, everyone's trying to heal, everyone's trying to move, all at the same time.
You know, doing. Let's see, I was going to go with DDR and Guitar Hero at the same time.
Well, that's that's the way people talk about it. Playing FF, like
Beat Saber while you're playing Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Probably a challenging thing to do, but I love it. So Painsmith, I absolutely love. To go through we'll go through from the start. I think Targru is a really fun first boss. I think like how it's just busted anima power bullshit. Fun.
Yeah, they've finally got a first boss that's actually kind of, you know, they've taken the fun instead of making it like, because obviously when you design a fun boss, Blizzard usually have to go with mechanical density or mechanical complexity to have fun, which as you can see, as you can always see that in every raid fight where people love the later bosses but are kind of bored by the earlier ones. And the Targru subverts that by using the anima mechanic, while also being a fun fight in itself.
Yeah, it's just such a smart design. And that intermission as well. I love how like the tuning of the intermission, you will always make it. But because they know the speed of your character, they make it just clenchy enough.
You actually forget one thing.
Oh.
That's because we at least had one Satchel of the Hunt, which I had, which is 30% move speed to everyone nearby. So if you don't have that, everyone needs move speed to get over. But if you just if someone sacrifices a personal throughput like anima power to get that instead, then there you go. So that's what I call it.
Yeah,
that's the smart part about it, where there's Nintendo design, but there's customization in the anima powers to not do it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't looked at what I haven't looked at what the glory achievement is for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's like not using anima powers or not using, specific ones.
Yeah. So I thought Targru was awesome. To move on to Eye of the Jailer, I really love the Eye of the Jailer fight. Now, I know that it's not the most complex thing ever, and we've sort of talked about this off stream, but for me, it is just the big, simple mechanic that happens to the whole room that I love. And for me, that's like Denathrius Phase 3. That is the Garrosh fight. I mean, the Garrosh fight in Dorzemain, whatever he's called.
Soul Render Door?
Yeah, Soul Render. And really just a lot of that stuff. I love that stuff. So, oh yeah. Eye of the Jailer. We were 120k HP off killing him, and I was just trying to get one more little thing off, and I died. There's one other fight as well where basically as soon as we were like 99.9% through the health bar, and I get myself killed stupidly.
Was that whenever I dispelled early on there's a launch everyone off the edge, but we still got the kill?
Yep. Cheers.
Yep. No, always like to have fun, but no, Eye of the Jailer is very, very interesting, because I know I don't agree that it's super fun, but that's because it's normal. Healer. I'm a healer. It was just drop pulls. It was to me it was drop pulls and avoid big beam.
Yeah. And
I was just like, all right, well, where's the raid wide damage? Where's the stuff I have to do? I don't have to move very much. It's the kind of thing where I prefer like Painsmith, and this is kind of goes to how I prefer design. I can't remember who it was, but someone earlier in chat said that. I'm actually not going to say it. I'm not going to say that name out loud, but the big heinous something said Painsmith reminds them of a faster paced Eden fight, which obviously Eden being the Shadowbringers raids. It's that design of just constant movement, like rhythmically you plan ahead for it, felt really good. Whereas on Eye of the Jailer, I had a lot of time where I was free to heal, and I was just like, I could be doing less downtime here. Maybe that's fixed on Heroic with the additional mechanic. But otherwise it's an early boss, so it's supposed to be easy. It's just the problem where, to me, that easy it wasn't fun, but too easy. It was too easy, thus it's not as much fun.
So it's that thing where when you're a stupid DPS player like me, downtime in a raid is basically, oh cool, I can mash my keys even harder. Like like how, because we watched Fast 5 yesterday as a bit of random fun, and it was like when that bit when The Rock is just shooting his gun, and it's like he's squeezing the trigger so hard the bullets come out faster. That is that's kind of how I feel whenever I get downtime and I'm like, yeah, see this fucking aim shot? It's going to be the best aim shot. I don't know why. So I guess it's like for a DPS player, you're like, okay, cool, there's some downtime. I'm just going to go ham and just rail on this boss for a bit. But if you're a healer and you're not getting pressure, you're just like, well, you're a holy paladin, so at least, you can damage. But
yeah, everyone can damage, but I'm just sitting there going, okay, so I've got my 3 buttons. I'm just going to press them as they come off cooldown. All right.
I suppose
where's the mechanics? But I guess
it's that thing where, because healing gameplay is like fundamentally quite defensive, unless you have a lot of, or super reactive in the moment, unless you've got a bunch of absorbs, because then you can at least use your absorbs to prepare for incoming damage, like a disc priest in MoP. Before that, I guess they kind of nerfed that down because it was getting a little bit silly. Yep. Yeah, I think to have fun as a healer, you definitely need to be somewhere where you're like a bit more pressured. Whereas to have fun as a DPS, it is just smiley face, buttons, 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 bar go big, me happy. And that is my fundamental, affinity with DPS.
Yeah,
I'm totally one of those people.
Yeah, it's a thing where I feel the entirety of good encounter design in an MMO or some game where you pressing, doing optimal damage or doing what your character can do optimally requires effort. It's a marriage of these two things where it's parallel processing. You've got on one line, you've got what you're doing as a character, and then what you do against everything, and on the other line, you've got Well, on the other line, you've got what your enemies are doing or what the room's doing or something that you have to react with. And it's where those blend really nicely is where it's most fun. But the problem is, as a Holy Paladin healer, a lot of the time, if damage isn't incoming, especially not in an interesting way, because there's a difference between damage coming in like just a complete nightmare and damage coming in ways that you can react to, expect, prepare for, stuff like that. Whereas I feel like on that fight specifically, it's very much neither of the paths required much execution, which resulted immediately me going, all right, well, I hope nobody gets hit by this thing.
I guess, yeah, it's like for me, I can at least be, time my aim shot so that I get 2 precise or 1 or 2 precise shot stacks, so that whenever I use the grappling hook while my character's in midair, I can pump off those 2 arcane shots. It's like those little bits that are like still the sort of fun that I can get out of it. But yeah, hopefully on heroic it's pressuring you a bit more and doing stuff like that to make it more fun for the healers. For the next boss then, the 9. The 9, it's weird. I know I enjoyed it. I don't remember it that much, so I need to definitely go back in there. I mean, there's the bit that I do remember, which is the ice at the end where you're supposed to...
Destiny, yes.
Yes, that was... Some fun was had.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably UI optimizations that people can make to do that. Also, general player optimizations to do that, because it was frustrating as a healer, but that's because the mechanics a bit...
Look at your fucking character.
Yeah, the mechanics
Maybe it got really big and blue.
Yeah, so the mechanics are kind of interesting. Otherwise, I feel like that would have been better if it was a later stage boss and they had more time to throw stuff at it. I really look forward to it on heroic.
Yeah.
Because those, the combination of mechanics are really, really fun. I just feel like the room's too big. Maybe that's because later on you'll want the room for fragments to cover all of it on like Mythic or something.
Yeah.
So the ice pools, maybe it is a case of like the soft enrage of covering the platform. But on normal, we had so much room to play with that the Eternal Blades didn't feel oppressive. It was just, you can just move for free to get out of these Eternal Blades. Whereas, like, I loved Massacre, which is literally the same mechanic, but I loved Massacre on Denathris because it was wide enough, you were in these narrow corridors, and it was just going through. So you did have to be careful. Especially dodging the tank line stuff, and then the pools from the ad death at the same time. So that was kind of satisfying, but the same mechanic feels a bit wasted in this massive empty room, where it's like, here's some narrow lines. You're like, well, this is nothing to avoid. But as soon as you get I'm going to say how Blizzard pronounce the name, Skyja, even though it's clearly Skia or Skaya or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's
Nazjatar.
Yeah, exactly that. I feel sorry for any sort of more
Fjord.
Any sort of Northern Europeans having to deal with that. But as soon as she comes down and they start to overlap in like not the pre-programmed order, but in combinations, then you've got Eternal Blades to dodge while you have to soak the 4 things, or Eternal Blades while you have to stack or soak and stack. That stuff's really cool. So I can't wait to get to that in heroic.
Yeah,
because everything else about that fight's really cool.
Yeah, so moving on from the 9, it is Ner'zhul.
I can't... Yeah,
I think for us it was Ner'zhul.
Yeah, it was Ner'zhul. Yeah.
Ner'zhul really felt like he needed to be on heroic to get like the double knock.
Yeah, normal.
Because the single knock just doesn't come together. I can understand why they made that choice for normal mode, but that was basically a one shot move on to the next, and didn't really... I can't even say much about that fight because I was just sitting there DPSing something and stuff happened, then it died.
Yeah, the tank mechanic of that is really cool, and it was a way more fun than it had any right to be for us because I was a dumbass, basically. So the tank mechanic is to aim a line tank buster. Now I'm using FF terminology, sweet. But to aim a line tank buster through the orb to make it vulnerable. Yeah. And then you can destroy it. The throw off the edge is kind of cool. I will say that's just a fun little thing to do. We, for context, you pick up an orb after we kill it, and then you walk it over to the edge, and then you get an extra action button to throw it off, but you're slowed while you're doing it. So it is just so either a healer do it or someone who tank your DPS to pick us up and throw it off the side. It's really cool. But the aiming the tank buster line through the orbs is fun. The knockback is kind of fun. It was super fun for us because I dispelled the knockback early and the tank missed the line, and then they had to reposition the boss to hit 2 orbs with the same line. I was like, shit, that should be the fight all along. But obviously we're doing it so normal. So it's like the double knock can be really fun. I remember watching it happen on stream and I was like, I can't wait for this to go wrong for us. Such a good mechanic.
Yeah.
Such a good mechanic. Having everyone, again, it's about this like rhythm of people getting together and moving. You know, it's just everyone here, mechanic. Everyone here, mechanic. And that in the rhythmic sense, while everyone's running around trying to keep up their DPS, or if they're a hard caster, crying and not being able to. So I think that's stuff. I think like there's elements where I can see specifics. I'm like, this is actually fantastic individual elements of design. The mechanics are so beautiful. They really understand how groups and individual players can have fun.
Yeah.
It's sick.
Yeah, so I can't wait for that one on Heroic.
Same.
So I'll properly get it then.
That'll be so frustrating. I can't help it.
Soul Render, Dorzamane, whatever. Soul Render, I'll just call him that. Garrosh fight.
Awesome.
It is great.
Yeah,
I like it. It's fun. I mean, part of that's just because the mechanic is Garrosh is screaming so hard it can kill you from afar.
I mean,
It thematically works, I'm in.
the white mechanic is called Hellscream. Like the ability to use Hellscream, it's so good.
Yeah, it's it's that thing. Like I like a dance. I like doing a dance because you do your movement right. You sort of plan for it, and you can hunter about the place and night fae about the whatever. It's fun. I thought it was like just simple. You look around you in the room. Big things are happening. Deal with them.
Someone calls 1, you run to 1. Someone calls 3, you run to 3. Excellent.
Yeah,
It's just that stuff of doing that while also keeping up your DPS is exactly what makes the game literally fun to play.
and then you get that solid base of a boss design, and then you just sort of sprinkle on top of that a few little extra things, a few mechanics, a bit of pressure here, a bit of pressure there, and then I think suddenly you've got a really compelling fight.
Yeah.
And I guess as for Painsmith, I mean, we've already covered that. It's one of my favorite fights in ages. Painsmith, like, I was having more fun on those Painsmiths than I was having... Let's see, more fun than Shriekwing, more fun than Huntsman, more fun than Darkvein, more fun than Council. I mean, most of them probably. More fun than Stone Legion Generals. It's great.
Stone Legion was a good fight. Outside of some of how the actual thing
For me, it
ended
was
up,
basing.
Yeah. It was
If the entire Stone Legion Generals was its final phase, then I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, fun. But for the rest of Stone Legions, I'm just like, I mean, broadly, okay, so we are... it's just that thing. Like, the way that our guild does it, we are... while we are raid-led by... I mean, you killed Mythic Argus. I believe you tanked that. Dakor is an active Mythic Raider.
Big C player, like.
But, that's not really our guild. We are basically a curve heroic progression guild. We get curve as a team. Then we do a few more things, and then we just kind of go do some other things. That's just how we do it. Yeah. So for us, it's been playing this on on normal to sort of see everything, and then doing the proper heroic progression. And it's very interesting how for so many guilds who their goal is do it in normal, then do it in heroic. Instead, I think we'll do it in heroic at least one or two boss or one boss maybe. Is it? Yeah, it's 136, isn't it, for the vault?
No.
146? 147? I've completely lost.
No, it's a lot more than that. It's not 8, isn't? Is it not 148?
148, yeah, it's 148.
Yeah.
No, so we'll do one. Yeah, well, we'll probably do like your man and heroic just to upgrade our Great Vault, but
First I heard of that.
I mean, we should. It makes
we
sense.
should, yeah.
But yeah, so we're one of those guilds. We do night one, and it's basically either very silly whoopsies that have everyone in stitches laughing, or it's a one shot.
Oh, it's 369. That's why I was wondering why I was like,
Oh, because it's 10.
Why
Yeah,
did
yeah.
we not say we'd plan to do that? Because it doesn't work. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's 369.
369, yeah.
Why do I think? Oh, because I've been doing mythic dungeons lately. You do one mythic dungeon to upgrade your box to that level. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, we're at that 5 out of 10. Bunch of progress on 6. And it's fun. Like, so far, my initial... Like, I enjoyed Nathria. My impressions of Sanctum are better.
Sanctum's definitely better overall.
Yeah.
I actually think some of that is down to how well the Sanctum of Domination actually is. Because, I mean, I was going on going... And look at that, it's a bunch of reused Torghast assets. Fantastic. You've done exactly what I've wanted you to do for years. Here's some assets that you've made before and use them elsewhere. Put some goddamn red lighting in them in the right direction. Add some detail here and there. Lay them out really annoyingly because it's a raid and you have to do that contractually, I think. And there you go. They've taken a bunch of Torghast assets and they've made a big Torghast raid, and it probably means that, well, I mean, I don't want to get too far into conjecture, but every asset that they used in that raid that already existed is an asset that an artist doesn't have to make for the next patch.
Yeah, that's good. That's how to do it. I'm entirely in support of doing all that stuff efficiently. Yeah, totally. Okay, right. Is there anything else for... No, so we've talked about it.
I talked about the raid itself. I mean, you've completely
happy with the raid.
So all of these perfectly done notes, and you've just completely ruined any form of structure we had. So that's fine.
Oh, sorry, Dakor. I mean, yes. Okay, so we got the Fall Guys meme as created by.
Yeah. So this was
Big Dumb.
Big Dumb.
Big Dumb.
Yeah. Very funny Twitter
bunch,
happenings on this. But that is essentially what it feels like. And I mean, Fall Guys wasn't like a major hit for no reason. It's because the literal concept of dodge stuff is fun. So they went dodge stuff, the fight. It's I don't know, Fall Smith, the ultimate spike feat. I don't know.